tell you to love your enemies and pray for anyone who mistreats you. Then you will be acting like your Father in heaven. He makes the sun rise on both good and bad people, and he sends rain for the ones who do wrong. If you love only those people who love you, will God reward you for that? Even tax collectors love their friends. If you greet only your friends, what's so great about that? Don't even unbelievers do that? But you must always act like your Father in heaven. May the Lord bless the reading of his sacred word.
Many of you who know me know that for 15 years out of my life, I was a teacher of emotionally disturbed young people. Middle school and high school. That's a fun age, right? Oh, they can be charming. And finally, I got to the point where I was just about at the end of the road. And I said to myself, you know, I have to find my ministry some other way. Because it kind of wears on you after a while. And so that is when I met the wonderful Dr. John Fry, who was an advisor to my students. He was a clinical psychologist in private practice. And he would come once a week and he would talk to my students and work with them individually. And I think I learned more from him than they did. Because he was always a broken record. And what they would do is they would complain to him about all the ills that they experienced at the hands of others. My father did this, and my mother did that, and my brother said this, and my sister said that, and oh, it was terrible. And they would talk about things that happened when they were little tykes. And he'd say, you're not 2 years old anymore, are you? So what are you going to do about it? It's done. And then, oh, that's not very nice. Because they wanted to get all caught up in all that emotional baggage that they had from the time they were very, very little people. And it was always, now what are you going to do with your life? The other thing that he taught me that I want to share with you today is allow people to own their own behavior. When someone is mean and nasty and stinky and says bad things about you and gossips behind your back and even betrays you, it's not about you. It really isn't. It's about them. You can allow other people to own their own not too great behavior. It will free you and allow you to love them and pray for them. I remember when I first started out, oh, sometimes you had to be really tough. I've been called stupid, ugly, mean, an old witch, and other names that I can't repeat here in church. Oh, I've been called some really bad stuff. It was really ugly. And going home after a day of all this name calling, you know, sometimes was pretty tough. And, you know, you almost like you have to wear armor. And then the hard part is, how can you love people that call you names all day long? Especially when it's nothing but really negative stuff. But in time, I could thank Dr. Fry. In time, you realize that they were really hurting. And I hope you know that about your own life. When you have somebody that's just really mean to you and maybe says unkind words, don't find that you are so unique and special, okay? If they're doing it to you, they're doing it to others. You are not all that special. You really aren't. They're just hurting so much inside. And what they're doing is just lashing out, getting it out, all that emotionality. And they really do when Jesus said, it's been said, love your neighbor and hate your enemies, that is exactly what the Jewish people had been taught. That's the way they lived their lives. He was the one that kind of sat down and said, I don't think that's working so well. How many of you who are very familiar with the Old Testament are aware of all the wars that they fought? One after another. Thank you. One after another, after another, after another. How many fathers do you think were killed in all those military operations? How many women do you think were left widows and children orphaned from their fathers? I really laugh when I hear about single parents. Like this is something new. Back in those days, it was because somebody got killed in war usually. And it was a lot more difficult then because women, at least in Palestine, weren't able to really go out and earn a decent living. And unless they had family members to fall back upon, they were really pretty destitute. And they were dependent on the community to support them in their time of need. Jesus was the one who taught us that not only do we have to love our friends and our family members, big whoop-de-doo deal, right? They're the people that we like. They're the people that like us. But what about the ones that are stinky? Huh? What about the ones that are stinky? What about the ones that accuse you falsely of things? And I'm sure I've been accused of all kinds of things. I've been accused of stealing from the pantry there in Prince Edward Hall. Forgetting that I was the one that put the stuff in the pantry. I've been accused. How would you like it if you were up here giving the message and a whole bunch of people were just sitting there the whole time chit-chatting? Yeah. Would you like that? Or if you're a teacher, especially teachers, and you're trying to explain something to your class, and there's this little chit-chatting going in the back of the room, or no, Patsy? It's kind of insulting, isn't it? Makes you feel that what you're doing it has no value to them, right? One time I got so angry. We had an intern in this church, and it was in the summertime, and he was delivering his sermon. And I thought it was pretty good. He had a nice voice, good intonation. He wasn't going da-da-da-da-da. Some people speak. Really good. And he was there delivering his sermon. He was out here. He had really prepared. And there were two people sitting in a pew just about where Nadine is sitting. Yeah. Except there were two of them.
Well, and it's very
Oh, yeah. Maybe what it was. Just talking back and forth, just chit and kind of loud. The mama bear in me came alive. Ooh, if there was, I really wanted to get out. But I didn't. What?
I said, you went through that with the other people that are no longer here. Remember
Yeah, it was those same people that were sitting there in the pew and chit-chatting while my intern was trying to give his sermon. And when you're an intern, you're new, you haven't delivered a lot of sermons, you're kind of insecure, and then have people chit-chatting while you're trying to express your you might say, statement of faith and how you're feeling and trying to deliver a nice message that people can take home with them. It's kind of hard to love, isn't it? But one thing I've learned from Dr. Fry is that people who do that are not happy people. Things have happened in their lives that they have not resolved. And so what they do is they take it out on other people. And they're really hurting. Their hearts are full of pain. And they're the ones that we have to go out of our way to love, and love some more, and love some more, and pray for. know how it makes, we've been called the Jesus Church, haven't we? Right? Remember our former, our interim conference minister? This is the Jesus Church. I went to Fuller Seminary, so I'm a little evangelical way of speaking, right? Please, I can't help myself. Jesus really has taught us how we need to live. If we want to have peace in the world, where does it start? With us. Not carrying a placard necessarily. and opposing a war, which I'm all for. It's not that. But if you want to have peace in the world, you have to start here with your own self. And the only way you're going to have peace in the world is to start loving people even who aren't very nice. Because usually they're hurting and they need praying for. So what Jesus has taught us, and what I hope we can learn on this day and practice week after week after week, is an expansive love that takes all of God's people in, even the little stinkers. Amen. Amen. All right, this is something you're going to have to do yourself, because when we get